There's little doubt the pandemic is hitting Colorado workers hard, and some believe boosting the federal minimum wage will help struggling employees rebound more quickly.
Tonight, Denver 7's Russell Haythorne takes a 360 look at whether a minimum wage boost will ease the recovery or create new problems.
We have a huge loyal following.
It's the neighborhood cafe.
I appreciate you.
Serving up a little soul food with a side of,
Like, pick it up, let's go.
Fatima Dickerson
I have to change my shoes every 3 hours.
has certainly seen this place through many ups and downs.
My family started the business in 85, 86. We've been Welton Street Cafe since July of 99.
This past year was perhaps
It's a fight.
one of their most challenging.
When you have COVID come in, you're like, nobody's walking down the street. Like, what's going on? I think this is still an emotional conversation for me, saving your black business during a pandemic.
Making matters even more complicated, renewed talk at the federal level of a minimum wage hike, which Welton Street has been through before.
Minimum wage went up, we went up. Our prices went up. People are coming in here like, well, last week is gone. We're living today. This is the moment we're in.
We're taking that discussion 360 with the other business owners like Fatima, the experts who have argued both for and against increasing the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and the workers like Ellie Kennedy who say $15 an hour would be a game changer.
Yeah, of course it would. You know, I can't even afford. I'm signed up for low-income housing right now. You know, other costs are going to rise as well.
There's certainly no question about Colorado's skyrocketing cost of living.
It's rising quite a bit.
Orlando has seen that firsthand while doing some electrical wiring on new and remodeled homes in West Denver.
They're like $1 million homes, and I'm from Denver, and it kind of made me sick, and it kind of made me irritated compared to what I was getting paid doing all that stuff.
While wage increases tend to follow inflation,
Correct.
Metropolitan State University professor Alex Padilla and other economists say it's not always that simple.
The popular idea is that minimum wage is going to help the poor.
Padilla says if the minimum wage gets too high, some businesses have no other choice but to make cuts.
Because businesses cannot afford to pay them.
If they're not cutting staff, sometimes they cut back on hours, so they're paying staff less.
Jamal is waiting on what?
Welton Street has already reduced hours during the pandemic.
There may be a decrease in hours of operation.
For further evidence of small businesses scaling back, Padilla says look no further than Seattle, which passed a $15 minimum wage. Studies show unemployment there did not rise like some had predicted, but businesses did cut back hours, causing workers to seek other employment.
They tend to go to neighboring cities outside Seattle to get more hours. How does that improve your quality of life when you have to work 2 jobs?
It's a tricky topic.
Jack Strauss is the Miller Chair of Applied Economics at the University of Denver, and he both agrees and disagrees with Padilla.
Having a livable wage makes sense. It's certainly a legitimate argument, however, that $15 is too much. And this is maybe where the Biden administration is failing, but not completely.
Strauss says Republicans and Democrats in Congress likely won't agree on $15 an hour, especially lawmakers from states where the cost of living isn't quite as high as Colorado.
They might have to negotiate from 15 down to, say, $12 an hour, which would be an equitable solution.
Padilla argues workers might also lose fringe benefits if the minimum wage goes up, like discounts on clothing for those in retail and a free meal for those in the restaurant industry.
Now they have to pay for the parking, or they no longer have a free lunch.
Padilla says it's his opinion minimum wage increases are best left to local governments. A fight we saw play out in Aurora a few months ago, where a measure to raise the minimum wage failed.
We need to make it possible for people to live in our city and be able to thrive on just one job.
The end point of this policy will be replacing paychecks with welfare checks.
The food is very good.
Thank you.
Sanjeev Kanerkar opened the Great Greek in Aurora just last year.
Literally a month before COVID. Since then, it's been an uphill climb.
He had to reduce staff by 50% and fears any hike in the minimum wage might be another setback. He's already paying his staff above average.
So for us, that is more important, keeping the employees happy.
Her total is going to be $56.21.
Back at Welton Street Cafe,
My job is to feed people. and that is it.
An attitude of survival
You've been doing okay?
at a crucial moment in time.
One of the hardest things about being a black business in general is finding help. You got to be good at it.
In 5 Points,
Tell them thank you.
Russell Hatham,
And so I appreciate that.
Denver 7.
And now we really want to hear what you think. Is raising the federal minimum wage right now a good idea? Please email us 360@thedenverchannel.com.